Hello, hello, hello. I just want to thank you all, first of all, for coming to my very first live show. I've definitely been nervous, anxious, excited, all of those emotions all bundled up into one. But I definitely appreciate the support, and I'm very excited to share with you some amazing news today. And first, let me go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Kristin Lynne Nori. And I share my full name with you because in researching, I discovered that there's actually another Kristin Nori out there with the same exact spelling. Now, I cannot vouch that she pronounces it the same. She could be Kristin Nori, I'm Kristin Nori, but, whatever, it's the same spelling. So I feel like she might be my secret soul sister out there. I think she lives in the Netherlands. So hopefully one day I'll get to meet her. Today's show I'm hosting is to share some cool happenings that are happening in my life. First of all, I did not expect to be able to announce this today because I wasn't sure if it would be officially official, but you may see down in the corner here by my name, it says founder of Inclusion Advocates and Allies. I have officially become a business owner as of today. My LLC was approved here in North Carolina. And I am officially going to be open for business to help you advocate for your children and their special education needs. Within that, I'm not going to just be having a business. This is also going to be a podcast. And my goal with that is that I'll be able to have people come on and talk with you and support, give support to you for free, about every other week or so. Area of expertise, covering the areas of disabilities as well as inclusion and updates on compliance issues, as well as any law, changes there may be. I definitely did not think this was going to be happening in time for my live show. So I am more than grateful that this all fell into place. And this just goes to show one more time how things happen for a reason. Literally 1 year ago today, I was trying to make the decision of whether or not I was going to resign from public education. And here I am, not even a year later. I'm a business owner. I'm also working as a national professional development specialist and teacher coach for Catapult Learning. I've done contract work for both Brigacare and for Resonance Learning. So shout out to both of them. It's just been a wonderful year, just an amazing journey that has allowed me to get to do all of the things from education that I love to do, and doing so on a more global level. So I won't go, too much more in depth and rattle on about myself. If you want to talk more, feel free to send me a message and we can set up a time to chat. But I definitely, could not have done this without the support of so many people in my life, not just my family and friends, but also the community that I've built and discovered on LinkedIn, both the Hounds of Business and then also the Level Up program with Dr. CJ Leyland has just been life-changing this year. So again, can't fit everybody into a specific thank you, but hopefully you know who you are, and hopefully you'll be the guests coming on my show soon. I do have to give a shout out though to my friend Amanda. She is a longtime friend of mine from elementary, middle school. And this past spring, I was helping her advocate for her son who was having some major issues in a public school setting. And I'll leave out the details of where and all of that because of our FERPA laws that protect those rights. But she was really having a difficult time and called me and asked me to help her advocate for her son. And through the process, at one point, she interrupted me and she said to me, "Why aren't you doing this as a business?" And secretly, it's something that I've always wanted to do ever since I stepped into the public school system in 1999 and met my very first advocate. I thought, that's what I want to do one day. I want to sit at a table and fight for a child and for their rights, and not have to worry about what the budget says or what the politically correct answer is. I want to say what the child needs. But I never thought that was a really realistic achievement. I truly thought I would spend 35 plus years in public education working in the school system. Never in a million years did I think I would be jumping into the business side of trying to help improve education. So as a former special education and compliance specialist with over 25 different years of experience, unfortunately, I've witnessed firsthand how many families do not know how to navigate that special education process, and they don't know how to advocate for themselves. You know, a lot of times you don't know what you don't know, but it's very troubling that children whose parents and caregivers need more resources to hire advocates and lawyers are often overlooked because of the priority due for compliance issues with somebody that does have that money to hire someone. So it is my goal too within my business to be able to help children that come from disadvantaged backgrounds and homes as well, and give support to parents and help build their knowledge and experience. Every child needs to receive individualized instruction, even if they don't fit into a specific box. Children with special needs often can be referred to like a round peg in a square hole. They don't always fit, and we have to figure out how to make them fit and what their needs are and help change that wherever that's possible. So that's my personal goal. My mission with this Inclusion Advocates and Allies is to help all families of children pre-K through 12 navigate the educational system. And it doesn't have to be in public school. It's also for private school. I definitely hope that in that time, you will keep in mind that while I'm able to do this for you, I can do so on a national and global level because of the fact that we've gotten such amazing technology over the years that now allows us to be able to connect from distances. However, with that said, I do specialize specifically and have direct experience working in Ohio, Maryland, DC, Virginia, North and South Carolina, and Florida. Over my time working in those states, I've worked, to help advocate for specific children over my career, whether it be a family member or a friend that's requested my help. And I've also helped tutoring clients of mine get support that they need set up in schools. And that can look like anything from attending a meeting for you and just helping you know what to ask, to observing your child and giving you suggestions of what he or she may need. Another part of what I'll be able to offer is attending parent conferences if you want that, as well as IEP and 504 meetings, like I was saying. Those can be done both virtually or in person. I'll be offering one-on-one conferencing for home support as well, and one-on-one tutoring for children who need study skills and organizational support. So more of that to come in the next few weeks as I iron out all of those details. But just wanted to make sure that you got that news directly from me right here in the beginning. I also wanted to let you know that one of the reasons you should hire me as an advocate is because of the experience that I've got. I've already worked with so many people, but I'm also a member of the Council for Parents, Advocates, and Attorneys. It's referred to as COPA, and I'm a contributing member to that society, as well as participating in national and state conferences. I've presented all over the country on topics in special education, like the MTSS process, PBIS, which I know I'm speaking in code for a lot of you non-education people, but that's part of why I'm here, to help decode that for you. I've presented on identifying and understanding students with learning disabilities, differentiating in the general education setting, helping teachers with their own well-being, as well as coaching on social emotional learning and how to implement those programs in your classroom and support kids. Restorative practices and trauma-informed is another two topics that I very much believe in and would love to be able to delve even deeper in. Those have been things I've been able to present on. And I'm hoping that I will continue to get to do so. Being able to work globally as an advocate, I really want to make sure that I can help everybody in every area, in any area of the disability categories. There are 13 different category disabilities, and I am ready to support you in any of those. And although I'm still working on some of the details, I am available for consultation immediately. Please feel free to complete the Google form that's in the chat, or you can connect with me directly through LinkedIn or my email address, and we'll get something scheduled for a free discovery call so that I can figure out what your needs are and how I may be able to help you. Another event that I wanted to share with you, and this is another, wow, I never thought I'd be telling anybody this so soon. In less than a month, my colleague and dear friend, Kristin Lynne Jones, excuse me, and I are going to be releasing a new collaborative guide that we have written for parents and caregivers that will help assist them in helping support and advocate for their children in school and with academics and behavior at home. And we find that a lot of time parents want to help, they just really don't know how. So our goal is that we're going to be able to teach parents in a way that will help teachers by having parents that are more supportive, appropriately involved, and of course, advocating for their child. So that will be coming out just shortly towards the end of September. And that will be happening right before the last big event that I want to talk about. This big event that's coming up is going to be absolutely groundbreaking and so amazingly different. I'd like to invite Dr. Constance Leyland to jump on in with us now. She is going to be hosting a global summit, and I want her to tell us a little bit more about that summit, what it may look like, and how you can plan to attend.
Magically, I appear.
Hello.
You did such an awesome job. Thank you so much for inviting me in and hosting.
Thank you.
Right? This is so amazing. But before we get into the summit, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
I feel like you were dreaming one foot and then you're like, whoa, it's a reality, right? And I am super proud of you, sister, like literally. But I have a couple of questions for you. First is, what are some effective strategies for creating an inclusive classroom environment? Like, what are some of the things that you would help the teacher? Like, hey, as an advocate, these are like, maybe a teacher would say, hey, Christine, I just need help. I don't know. I'm somewhat of a brand new teacher. How can I make sure some of the strategies that you can give me to make sure that when I teach in my classroom, I'm very aware and intentional on being inclusive?
Absolutely. That's a great question, CJ. I literally just presented on this topic in Florida about 2 weeks ago to a group of teachers that were K through 12 in a private school setting that was so small that classrooms were literally 8 to 10 students per grade. And it's one grade per, or one classroom per grade for the whole school. So they were really struggling with, I'm one person, what do I do here? If I have students that have different needs. So we talked a lot about learning your students' learning styles is probably the most important thing you can do right off the bat, because if you know that, then you know what their needs are and you can be creative with how you present materials. One of the things I always loved to do when I was a classroom teacher is student choice boards, because it allowed me to differentiate what the students' needs were, within the assignment, whether it was, changing the expectations based on the ability level of the group, changing the product based on the learning style, or even based on changing the process of how it's delivered, for a student that may have trouble organizationally. But the key is figuring those things out and helping each individual child. Now, a lot of teachers say, I can't do that. I've got 20 plus children, 26 children. You can do it, because what I used to do is after you survey them and you find out their needs, you take the child with those needs that are the most significant and cater to everyone with those needs, and help everyone. It's going to benefit everyone. Dr. Melissa Sadden, who I have great amount of respect for, is very predominant in the world of trauma-informed practices for educators. And she talks about students that are lions and ducks, and how The students with trauma tend to be lions. You never know what you're going to get. They may explode. Whereas students without trauma are more like ducks. They fall into line and they just, do what you tell them to do. So if you teach to the lions, the ducks will follow. And it kind of applies right here in special education in that world in general, and really any work environment. If you meet your neediest person's need, everyone's going to benefit in the long run.
That's so amazing. So that's a great strategy for those of you who are teachers. You might be teachers for a season for 20 years, but things change, family change. You've seen the changes on our social trending, what's going on. This is really a good strategy. Another thing is I talk about the teachers now. Let's talk about the family, right? Because you're an advocate for both sides.
Yes, absolutely.
How can a mom or a dad say, hey, you know what? I need an advocate. When do you actually ask for one?
That's a good question. I would encourage a parent when they're at the point that they're not sure, their child may be struggling and they're not sure what to do. That's a good time to say, hey, I need help. And being an advocate for themselves is the first step. It's not necessarily finding an outsourced advocate like myself, but knowing that they have to stand up for themselves and say, I know that I need some help here. And then going and finding that support, whether it be through the teacher or through someone like myself that's supporting parents from the outside world. I think the other thing is knowing, when enough is enough. You and your gut know when your child needs something, and if they're not getting it and you're getting, pushed to the side or you feel dismissed, that is most definitely a time to reach out to an advocate. Even just to say, hey, am I crazy here? This is what's happened. What's your advice? Because a lot of times schools are bombarded, and it's to no fault of their own that things get overlooked. They're understaffed and they have way more on their plates than we, even had 10 years ago on our plates as educators, special educators, even more so with all of the laws and, changes in compliance over the years that they have to keep up with, and the needs of the children increasing so severely. So that is absolutely, parents need to follow their gut. And when they know something's not right, reach out either to a specialist like myself, an advocate, family doctor, teachers, support staff within the buildings. They have counselors a lot of times that can also help.
I also have another question. So as a teacher's advocate, each state has different laws, private, public, and charter. Do you cover all?
So here's how I'm going to answer that question, because I certainly don't know every law in every state and every district. Yes and no. What I will do is tell you that I always will start with a client with a discovery call. And if I feel in that discovery call that I'm not going to be able to legally do what their needs are, I will be honest about that and not, and then hopefully refer them in the right direction. I am able to advocate in any state, for any school. It doesn't matter if it's public or private. I can even help if your child's attending online school virtually. That's something that even kids online are needing support through special ed process. But I'm available immediately and really can cater individually to what people's needs are, which is one of the things I love about this business, is that it's going to allow me to really just do what I love. And
there's your legacy and there's your impact, sister. Like, I love it because you're leveling up the world through education. What? Yes. And I love that. It's a win for all of us. So this one is my last question, I promise. And then I'll go to the global.
Sure.
I just wanted to know more because I know that you have a lot to say, but you're probably not thinking about it. But as a parent, I'm thinking as a parent and as a teacher, because I did K-12 as well. Can you recommend resources or organizations that provide support for special needs students and their families? Like right off the bat, where can they start looking for these things?
Absolutely. First of all, Google is your best friend when it comes to these kinds of things. In my opinion, I always feel like if you're not sure, Google it and you'll find resources. But for sure, being a part of COPA is a great first step. That would be the Council of Parents, Advocates, and Attorneys. Again, that would be a great first step because we get weekly emails and updates on laws and compliance issues that help parents understand the process. So that's a great organization. There are also parent groups for specific types of disabilities. For example, if you have a child with severe behavioral mental health needs, there's NAMI, which is the National Association for Mental Illness. That would be a great organization to join. There are all kinds of organizations for parents of students with ADHD. There is an actual website that's called Attitude that has some great things. But Googling, how can I help my child with ADHD? It's amazing what you can find and what will come up from there.
Okay, so I got COPA's information here.
Excellent.
So it's Council of Parents, Attorneys, and Advocates. And then, of course, our dear sister Kristin will add those in the comment sections when you're done. So you guys can actually email her directly here. This is her email address. And then you want to book discovery calls and things like that. She'll also add her link on the comment section once we're done. And this is her LinkedIn if you are not connected and you are watching her YouTube channel. This is her LinkedIn as well. And are you pretty much doing a free consult for 30 minutes, 15 minutes?
I'm advertising them as 20 minutes, but I'm not going to, time it to the minute if it needs to be a few minutes longer to help, again, it's individual. It's individual.
Yeah. Awesome. It's customized. So you heard that, guys. Now, Global Summit. So the Global Summit is actually in 3 buckets: K-12 educators and higher ed educators, because I think they should be working together from children to now young adults to adults and working adults, right? And then after you're done with school adults, I'm still in school, by the way. I don't know if I'm considered an adult yet, but I'm still in school. After that, you're a working person now. So you're either a gigpreneur, entrepreneur, or you are an employee, W-2 or 1099 contract, whatever you're doing. That is the 3rd bucket that I have. So coaches, authors, business owners, whoever. The whole mission that I have in mind with this Global Summit is to have a marketplace or a circle, if you will, of like-minded, heart-centered business people who's willing to give time and resources to our community to level everyone up. Because you know that all of us have our own zone of geniuses. Think of it, I keen the example of having a cell phone, whether you're a Samsung user or an iPhone. Okay, those are 2 top competitors, okay? It doesn't matter how good your app is. It doesn't matter how good your education, how much money you have. It doesn't matter. You know why? Just like an iPhone, okay, you're going to use up every single thing. You're doing a lot of things. If the battery is depleted, if you don't plug in to recharge yourself, you're going to deplete yourself. That is why I call it recharge and in charge. In order for you to be in charge of yourself and your community as a business leader and as a leader, period, you need to retool. Recharging yourself. There's a lot of tools. There's a lot of ways that you can do it. And when I say my mission is to level up the world through education, I don't mean you go back to school to get a degree. I mean, a lot of things right now is mindset. I think it came out because of COVID. We really did. It's not like it just existed during COVID. It just highlighted it during COVID.
Absolutely.
Go back on that one. It's not like it will just start. No, it was already.
It's always been there.
But because of COVID, you were forced to stay home and reflect yourself in the house. You're like, wow, okay, this is me right now. And I'm a hot mess, right? But at the same time, we're continuing 3 years later. Now we're seeing the effects slowly of that. And I want to build a community with individuals like yourself, like our sister Sandra, like our brother Oliver, like all of our sisters who are showing up from the house here, Raquel, right? To provide tools for our people. There's 800 million on LinkedIn. There's 8 billion people, 2.96 billion on Facebook, 2.36 on YouTube. Hello, we have a lot of work to do, but we have to start somewhere.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. I think taking that first step can be so hard sometimes, but once you do, it's a snowball effect.
Okay, we're doing it live. I'm going to ask you one last question. How do you feel?
I feel really good. I'm kind of floating on cloud nine. I feel like it hasn't really all settled in that this is happening because it's happened so quickly. I mean, I literally 2 weeks ago had a coffee chat with Dennis Berry. I'll give him a shout out. And I was telling him all the things I still had to do before I could get this business up and running. And he said, no, stop it. Just start. Just start. And if I hadn't had that advice, I would not have, taken this next step to say, okay, well, let me look into the LLC now and see how hard it is. I literally applied for it less than a week ago. Now, they told me it would take a month, but here I am 4 days later with it in hand, literally right in my hand. So, I mean, it's real, and it got really real fast, but I'm very excited to see where this goes.
Yeah. And did you plan to have a live? If the due date is pushing you to do this?
I think somebody's pushing me to do this. Yeah, I did not plan on doing this so soon. I definitely want to have my own podcast up and running, and my date is TBD ASAP, I promise. However, I am trying to meet a deadline for a class that I have taken to level myself up with Dr. CJ. And it's been wonderful. It's pushed me out of my comfort zone. It's made me do things I never thought were possible, that I never thought I would be able to do. So I am beyond grateful to you, CJ, for everything. So yay to you.
I can't take all the credit because I only am a tool as well. I'm really a tool to help. But at the end of the day, it's you that deserve that credit because you showed up. You choose to be intentional. You choose to change. You choose to level up. I'm only a tool. I'm available, but I can only do so much. At the end of the day, it's you who did that. You showed up for yourself. 50 inspirational. I still remember your video saying, oh gosh, my mom, it feels like your whole life was falling apart, raining, shining, hurricane, earthquake. Nothing was going to stop you.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. You're right. You're absolutely right. When I made that video, I was getting ready to I was racing to Maryland because my mom was in the ICU. And then this live show, I didn't know if it would go through because we had a hurricane last night. So I didn't know if we'd have power today. It was like, all right, well, I'll just make it work.
But here you are.
Yes.
Right? So I'm only a tool, but it's up to you to show up. God gave me this wisdom to help and the ability to help as much as I can, but people have to help themselves. And you did.
Right.
So more power to you. You showed up, you did it, but I'm a little pushy on that side.
But that's what you needed to do. Yep. And you know what? I appreciate that push. Like I said, it may not have been something I would have taken and jumped out, so quickly to do. But again, now that I have, it's not as scary as I thought it would be. It's not as big as it looked to me from the other side. I know I'm going to make mistakes because that's life and that's growth mindset. You can't grow if you don't make mistakes. Yeah. So, nobody's perfect and I don't ever expect to be perfect. I will always be somebody that is looking for how can I grow? What can I do to make myself stronger and better in the areas that I want to be? And that's one of the reasons I love education so much. And I didn't want to leave education by leaving the classroom. I wanted to have a global impact on changing the system for our kids.
That is what we're heading, sister. We're going to do a global summit. Here we go.
Yes, ma'am. I can't wait.
People ask me, what's your expectation? Nothing. Like this is the first time.
Right.
Like, inspirational. What's your expectations? I was like, nothing. It's going to go. We're going to go for it. And that's how I am. I'm a community builder. I'm a community builder. Because I see people and sometimes they don't see themselves. They kind of do, but not really. But when they show up, boy, it is an explosion. So congratulations, Sandra's sister. It's going to be tomorrow at 5 p.m. I will be in her show. I don't know, everyone's show this week. I'm loving it. I love you guys. Thank you for showing up for yourself. Keep showing up. And I'm going to be quiet now. What is your last message to everyone?
So I know I threw a lot of big news at everybody today in a very, very quick, short period of time. But again, that may have maybe encapsulated for you how my life has felt the last few months, for sure. I am extremely excited about all of this. And I just want to thank my community, first of all, for your continued support. and help and guidance as I'm embarking on this new journey. Please reach out if you've got questions, if you've got, any, just curiosities about special education and the process and how it works, or if you need help specifically, please, remember my name and pass it on.
Yes. And last question, I promise. Do you have a schedule on your podcast? Is it twice a month? Is it every week? What time?
My goal is going to be to do twice a month, and I am not sure exactly what date or time yet, but that I'm still working that out around my other work schedule so that I can make sure that I can be consistent with it. But my goal is probably about a half hour in length, and I hope to have 1 or 2 guests on each show.
Perfect. Thank you so much, guys, for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate everyone, and thank you to my community for all of the help and support.
Yes, and shout out to our sister Raquel, fellow hounds.
Yes, thank you for your support, Raquel. Thank you for coming. And Sandra and Kiara.